All right, I got a pretty awesome day planned today. The carburetor that I took off when I went up to Platteville a couple weeks ago is going back on the 67 Mustang, and we are test driving for the first time the Firebird for a long distance. Seems to be working great. The last time I drove it, no issues with oil pressure whatsoever. It ran good. So the plan is we're gonna take this car over to Platteville and go check out this 67 Mustang Shelby and get this carburetor put back on. I'll go ahead and show you me rebuilding the carburetor here and showing you what was actually wrong with it, and then we'll catch back up either on the road or over there. All right, so here's the carburetor I have to work on this 1967 Ford Mustang. We have a Holley 850 CFM double pumper. It is from 2007. It's actually a obsolete carburetor. They no longer make this model. It was called the Ultra. It has a full mechanical secondary along with electric choke, and it was considered a lightweight carburetor. The base plate is made out of T6 aluminum, as well as the metering blocks. The current problem with this car was it was leaking fuel. Intake was getting covered in gasoline, so the problem is the accelerator pump from sitting has failed, and when the fuel pump would fill the fuel bowl, gas would start to leak out all over the intake. So we're gonna get this thing torn down. I'll show you what's wrong with the actual accelerator pump, clean it all up, put some new gaskets in it, throw this back together and get this car running for them. But it's a Shelby Mustang, and yeah, we're gonna get it taken apart. So first, I'm gonna pull out the accelerator pumps. And obviously I have a full kit from Holley ready to rebuild this thing. But I could have probably just replaced the accelerator pump. However, I think all of the gaskets and seals have all probably dried out over the years. And so we're just gonna replace everything with new. This is the double pumper diaphragm here. And has to have a tear in it somewhere with as bad as this thing was leaking. Oh yeah, there it is. As soon as I push on it, you can see major cracks in the diaphragm right there. And so that's where the fuel was leaking out of. There we go. Oh yeah, we have a really clean carburetor on the inside. The inside of the fuel bowl looks great. There's a little bit of sediment in the bottom, so we'll definitely get that all cleaned out. But yeah, we should have no issues other than some dried out rubber pieces that we're gonna replace. This carb should be able to go back together and hopefully is tuned, ready to go as soon as I get it back on the car. But I'm gonna finish tearing this down, get it all cleaned up, and we'll be ready to put it back together. Okay, so this is something I saw when I pulled it off. This gasket is all pushed in and folded down and wasn't sealing across the top. It wasn't leaking the fuel from up here that I could see. It was definitely out of the accelerator pump, but this is a problem also that we're gonna get this replaced, which is why I'm gonna do a full rebuild kit on it. So yeah, you can totally see how that gasket was pinched in there and definitely was not sealing from whoever put this together the last time. Well, after completely disassembling this carburetor and looking at the condition of the inside of it, I can say with almost certainty that this engine probably has hardly any miles on it or any runtime whatsoever. The fact that it was leaking fuel was purely due just to age, not because of use. This carburetor is so clean on the inside that, yeah, with the exception of finding the gasket that was torn and the accelerator pump, and we're also going to replace the rubber check valves that are in the bottom of the accelerator pump and any of the parts that can age from time. So we'll get all that stuff replaced, throw it back together, get this on the car, and we'll get to hear it run. Just like that, I got her all back together. Carburetor's completely rebuilt. I reset the float levels, 2 new accelerator pumps, the one-way valves in the bottom, cleaned the bowls up a little bit, but really this thing has no miles on it from what I can tell. So we're gonna get this back over into Wisconsin, get this thrown on the guy's car for him. Cruising down the highway at 65. I got about 65 pounds of oil pressure. I think she's perfect. So we got a long drive ahead of us, and I'm gonna have a fun, nice definitely don't want to have to come and tow it back. So, especially when I'm going to fix somebody else's car. So maybe on the way home I'll beat it a little harder, but I obviously want to make it there and get this guy's car fixed for him. Well, I made it over to Platteville. Well, not Platteville, but the windy back roads of Wisconsin by Platteville. And the oil pressure's doing awesome. So here it is, the 67. We're gonna get the carburetor thrown back on this and make this thing run. It's a GT500 Shelby. Side mount exhaust. Absolute beautiful car. This one definitely wants to be driven. First thing I gotta do is clean up this gasket material. Make sure I get nothing inside this motor. I'm using my super scraper because it does an awesome job. Just peels the gasket material right off. Well, here goes. We're gonna turn the fuel pump on, make sure it's not leaking anywhere out of the carburetor. See if it starts. Run right there, did she? All right, well, I'm gonna go pull this into the garage down there. We're gonna change the oil in it too. While I got the oil drain in, I figured I'd go around it and kind of show you the whole car. Well, I got it in this garage down here. It's a Shelby GT500. This thing's pretty sweet. 427 aluminum motor. It's got rack and pinion steering. Rack and pinion steering, coilovers, tubular control arms, long tube headers, full extra chassis frame underneath it, like subframe connectors. Runs all the way back to the rear end with like, what style suspension is that in here? That's an interesting suspension. I don't think I've ever seen that. It's got a long bar that comes up in the middle here. And it's got some kind of a Watts link for centering. Pretty sweet. Super clean car. It is 100% solid in here. The rear suspension is pretty impressive. It's got full aftermarket everything. Fuel cell hangs out down here. This is neat suspension. But this thing drives around corners pretty well. I got her finished up and tuned the best I can. I'm gonna have him take it for a spin and see how well it runs. Let the oils change, and she's ready for the road. Sweet car. We just went for a drive and it ran awesome, and now I'm heading on the Wisconsin back roads with the Firebird. We're gonna have some fun. It's an absolutely beautiful day to have to go for a drive too. Just crossing the Mississippi River. Well, not sure what's on my agenda for the rest of the day, or night, actually. It's after 5 o'clock now. But it does look like Tasha went and got the Sunbird out, which I probably should wash both of these cars, considering the birds have been not the friendliest to them. And my 1940's got bird crap all over it too. So maybe I'm doing car washing tonight. So we got one there. Well, by the time we got done making supper, it got dark out, so I'm taking the Sunbird back to the storage unit. We're gonna drop this off. It's supposed to be sunny again tomorrow, so maybe we'll pull the cars out and wash them then, but definitely not doing that tonight. Well, that's gonna do it for this one. I wanna thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.